Imagine this. Imagine that you live in this town, and this town is having an election for a mayor. Now you, as a concerned citizen, you go down to the town hall, and you hear all the speeches from all the candidates. What you want to hear from them is how much success they've had in the past, what kind of projects they've had, and how much they've helped the community grow. Basically, you want them to instill confidence in you. So when the Torah introduces Avram in this week's Parsha, they don't really give Avram a proper introduction. All that they say about him is that he's a son of Terach, he has a wife called Sarah, she's barren, and that they moved around a little bit. So this isn't really an introduction for him. When the Torah talks about Noah, it says how righteous he was. He was a man perfect in his generation. So who was Avram? He was a Navi, because he had a nevuah from Hashem, but what did he really do? So when Avram got this nevuah from Hashem, he was 75 years old. This is the first confirmation he got of God's existence. Up until this point, he had undergone an intense journey of introspection. He had grown up in Ur-Kasdim, a city filled with Avodah Zarah. But despite this, he had rejected it all, and he accepted Hashem. It wasn't always easy for him. The Midrash tells a story about how Terach, Avram's father, had an idol shop. And in his idol shop, one day, Terach had to go on a business trip. And so he left the responsibility of the shop to Avram. So Avram at this point had already accepted Hashem, and he already knew that Hashem was the one true God. So what he did was he destroyed every single idol in his father's shop, except for one big idol. And in that big idol, he left some tools. So when Terach returned from this, he saw that his entire shop had been destroyed, and he got so mad at Avram. How could you do this? How could you destroy the livelihood of myself, of our family, of you? And Avram said to him, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. It was that big idol that I left in the back, has tools in it. It destroyed all the other idols. So Terach was like, that's impossible. It's just a statue. How could you do that? So Avram said to him, okay, fine. So if it's just a statue, then why do we worship it? Terach had no answer to this. So because of his brazenness, because of his rejection of all of Avodah Zarah, Nimrod, the king of Ur-Kasdim, he hunted Avram for 13 years. For 13 years, Avram Avinu had to go into hiding. And so later, even when he was caught, even with the threat of being thrown into a fiery furnace, Avram never relented, never wavered from his belief in Hashem. And this is the reason why Hashem decided to have Avram as the forefather of the Jewish nation. The lesson of staying true to Hashem is one that the Torah has eternalized for all Jews, for all generations. You have to remember that even in times of difficulty, even in times of hardship, when life is so dark, when life is so alone, we have to remember that we have to stay true to Hashem. We have to remember Avram's internal strength of character and his commitment to his ideals. And no matter where he was, no matter the challenge to his life, he never gave up on his ideals to Hashem. And so wherever you go, whether it's on a bed, college, the army, or beyond, you get a job, you get a family, you have to remember Avram Avinu's lesson. That no matter how hard life gets, you have to stay true to Hashem.
The Kavod Shabbos. This might be the first and only ever PTP that's related to the Parsha, surprisingly, that I'm ever going to do. So I just want to start off with a story. There's this guy, Shana dude, he wasn't the most serious guy, didn't really go to Shir, didn't really go to Shacharis, broke out from Shir to go to Papagayos, classic Shana shenanigans, you know how it goes. And one day he decides to pick up a book about tzitzit. Aryeh Kaplan, the Rav Light, he reads it, likes it, goes up to his Rabbi and says, Rabbi, check it out, check this cool sefer, Aryeh Kaplan tzitzit, it's so cool, tzitzis. And Rabbi says, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing? He looks down, obviously knowing what's about to happen. He's not wearing tzitzis. Slapped up. The rabbi says, okay, open up the third parak of Parshas Bereshit. And of course, this guy being super unserious, you can't even tell. So the rabbi says, Yor by Yor. Let there be light. And there was light. He says, okay, cool, point one, interesting. Let's go, point two. Open up Baruch Shemar, it says, Baruch HaMer V'Yaseh. Blessed is he who says he does. Blessed is he who says and does. he says, basically on a 10-minute Musar rant of, if you actually want to be a serious person, you have to recreate some Elohim. You have to commit to what you're saying. Simple idea. So I want to ask a question: where is growth? I think we grew up in a society where people say growth is there. When I get this car, I'm going to be happy. When this happens, I'm going to be content. But realistically, growth is right here. It's inside. What was the peak? What was the center of Avram's story? It was becoming Avraham. The name change. The Brit Milah. Right? It was the controlling of a taiva, some uncontrollable force. It was clearly tamed through Brit Milah. And we see this growth of Avram Avinu. Now, Kriyat Yam Suf, the first kind of nation act event with Bnei Yisrael after Yetziat Mitzrayim. The Jews are at Yam Suf, and they say, "Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We're going to die. Mitzrayim are here." And it's an ocean. It's just an ocean. There's nothing more than that. And then Hashem does a little Brit Milah on the ocean. And it's more than an ocean. It's a path. It's something deeper than just water. You control an uncontrollable force of water. Water just fits into a cup, split. But both these two things have a deeper aspect right there, right inside of Avram, right in front of the Yehudim, right? And before they went forward, they looked in. So now we go to Har Sinai, the first event of Bnei Yisrael all together as a really established nation. And what are we told? Nasa Nishma, Nasa Mishnah. Act and then understand. Act and then learn. Why? Why are we doing this? Because we were nothing. We were slaves. We didn't have anything. We have no foundation. So we're told as a jump start, like a hot wire on the car, if that's what you call it, let's get going. But we can't just live our lives as Naaseh. We can't just do our entire lives. There are people who sadly, they do Shabbos, they do Daf, they do all these mitzvahs, and they hate it. They hate every second they're not connected. Because all it is Naaseh and no Nishma. We need to transform the Naaseh. We need to transform it into Nishma. And we need to understand. We need to put our whys inside the things we do. So, hopefully, I'm sure we can all look inside ourselves and say that we want to get into yeshiva. We want to be serious. We want to hopefully finish a Masechet of Gemara, maybe finish all of Shas, if we're really like that committed. And if we're really, really serious about it, why are we waiting? Why are we waiting to Naaseh? Let's do it right now. Even if we're not fully feeling that Naaseh, we should trust within ourselves that it will become Nishma. Just like the Shal Aleph guy who wore tzitzis for no reason at the beginning, but chose to actually understand it more. He reread the book. He chose to Nishma the Naaseh. So, let's start doing it now. Even if we're not fully feeling it, we will surely, and we have to trust ourselves. It's a process. It's not day one immediate results. So, the step one of the Naaseh to Nishma journey of achieving our inner greatness is to uncover the blanket, cut the orla, split the sea, to truly be the best people we could be, so we could understand who we are. Thank you.
Just a short word before I do the Siyum. I learned this in Luna Nishmas, a friend of mine whose Yortzeit was today. HaTorah מאיר, Binyamin Brown. Very close friend of mine who passed away 3 years ago when we were 15 in school. Just a short insight on who he was as a person, by a small story. It was right before he passed away, the day before he was going in for an x-ray. And the only thing he cared about was that he was disturbing the child next to him who had cancer. He wasn't concerned about his own health, or that his parents were worried about him may die, or this and that, anything. He was only concerned about the people around him, and that they were okay. Megillah was the last Gemara we learned together in school with him, with the Vahar program. So I finished Megillah, the Nishmas for his Yortzeit. V'adar Moshe Amad Adonai al Bnei Yisrael. And Moshe declared the festivals of Hashem to the children of Israel. It's an obligation to read each and every festival portion at its appropriate time. Rabban taught. Moshe made a decree to the Jews. Halachot Pesach was Pesach. The halachas you teach about should be at the time of Pesach. the halachas, the laws of Shavuot should be at Shavuot time. Hilchot Chag v'Chag, the laws of the festival of Sukkot should be at the time of Sukkot. Hadron Alach Yair v'Sakh v'Salika Allah Masech Megillah. Hadron Alach Masech Megillah v'Hadron Alach. Dat Alach Masech Megillah v'Dat Achalan. Lo nin Neshem Minach Masech Megillah v'Lo Tit Neshem Minan. Lo Ba'ama Hadeh v'Lo Ba'ama Date. Hadron Alach Masech Megillah v'Hadron Achalan. Datan Alach Masech Megillah v'Dat Achalan. Lo nin Neshem Minach Masech Megillah v'Lo Tit Neshem Minan. Lo Ba'ama Hadeh v'Lo Ba'ama Date. Hadron Alach Masech Megillah v'Hadron Achalan. Datan Alach Masech Megillah v'Dat Achalan. לא ניתן נשמינה מסך מגילה ולא ניתן נשמינה לא בעם ההדם ולא בעם דעתי. יהי עושה מפניך עונה אלוהינו ולאבותינו שתהיה תורתך אמונתנו בעולם הזה ותהיה עמנו לעולם הבא וחנינו בפאפה רמי בפאפה נחמן בפאפה אחיה בפאפה אמה בפאפה מארי בפאפה רחום בפאפה רחיש בפאפה סוחה בפאפה עדה בפאפה דאו בפאפה. הבנה אדוני אלוהינו ודברי תורתך בפינו ובפיו עמך בית ישראל ונהיה כולנו אנחנו וצאצאינו וצאצאינו צאצאי עמך בית ישראל כולנו יודעי שמך ולומדי תורתך לשמה מעבד תחמננו מצוותיך כי לא מהי לי יהי ליבי תמיד בחוקך למען לא אבוש לעולם ולא אשכח פיקודך יהי כי ברוך איתנו ברוך אתה אדוני למדנו חוקך אמן 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 סלע ועד. מודים אנחנו לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו ששמת חלקנו מיושבי בית המקדש לא שמת חלקנו מיושבי כהנות אנו משכימים והם משכימים אנו משכימים לדברי תורה והם משכימים לדברים בטלים אנו עמלים והם עמלים אנו עמלים ומקבלים שכר והם עמלים ואינו מקבלים שכר אנו רצים והם רוצים אנו רצים לחיי לעולם הבא והם רוצים נביאי השחת שנאמר ואתה אלוהים תורידם נביאי השחת אנשי דמים ומרמה לא יחסו ימיהם ואני אבטח בה. יהיה עשו לפניך אדוני אלוהי כשם שעזרתני לסיים מסכת מגילה כן תעזרני לתקן מסכתות וספרים אחרים לסיימם ללמוד ולמד לשמוע לעשות קיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך בעבר וזכות כל התנאים והמורים ותלמידי חכמים יאמר לי עוזרי שלא תמוש התורה מפי ומפי זרי וזרע זרי עד עולם ותקיים בי בהתהלכך תנחה אותך ושבך תשמוע עליך והקיצותה היא תשיחך כי בי ירבו ימיך ויוסיפו לך שנות חיים אורך ימים בימינה ושמאלה יושב הכל אדוני לעמו איתם אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום.